To Bishop Martin Amos, our board chair, to the Board of Trustees, Sister Joan Lashinsky, our president, faculty and staff, family, friends, and other supporters of the graduating class, and most importantly, the reason we're all here, this esteemed graduating class of 2016. Good afternoon, and what an honor it is for me to address you. In the fall of 1964, I started classes at the then St. Ambrose College, an all-male institution. As I went on to cram 4 years of higher education into 5, I came to learn what an honor it was to be a part of the Ambrose family. There was no idea of the high honor to be bestowed on me by my alma mater after over 45 years later. It's very humbling. In more recent years, it became my privilege to serve on the SAU Board of Trustees with one duty of participating in the annual commencement exercises like today's. In 1992, the honorary degree recipient and commencement speaker, Andrew Young, former aide to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who went on to become mayor of Atlanta, a U.S. congressman, and an ambassador to the UN, made a comment in his address that made me very reflective of my own graduation ceremonies. He said, "I was just admiring in the procession of the conferring of degrees and honors the number of graduates receiving cum laude recognition at various levels. When I graduated, my honor was to recognize him and to say, 'Thank you, Lordy.'" Yep, that was me too in 1969. What we come to learn in and through education is that it's not as much about what we've learned, but rather how to learn. Not that we know all the answers, but we know better how to find them. Now, we all know that a big part of learning is reading and understanding. Even from my very early learning days, even preschool, I came to understand that all stories begin with "once upon a time," and all stories ended with "and they lived happily ever after." We tend to think of the past when we say "once upon a time," but this very minute and everyone to follow is your once upon a time, since it is, after all, a once-time opportunity. For sure, we learn pretty quickly that no one lives happily ever after. Too many challenges, stresses, and disappointments in life. However, they help us also to learn, to grow, and flourish for yet another once-upon-a-time opportunity. So take full advantage, graduates, of lessons learned. As important as the bookends of "once upon a time" and "they lived happily ever after" are, it's the dots in between that is most important. And the significance of the dots in between is how well we connect them. Example, how do you begin your day? What response do you get when you say to someone, "Good morning, and how are you today?" A typical response might be, "Oh, doing okay," or fine, thank you. Are you ever struck when you hear regularly from the grocery store clerk who answers, "I'm living the dream," or the coworker that says routinely, "I'm just a little short of awesome," or the community volunteer who starts out every morning silently singing to themselves, "Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I have this wonderful feeling. Everything's going my way." So you come to learn that it's not so much what's with the person, you, but what's within them, you and you. Then connect the dots of self-determination and inspiration with the reality that much of life and where we find ourselves and under what circumstances really isn't even under our control. Success comes from how we respond. I have considered most major junctures of my life to be providential. They didn't just happen. Every challenge in your life story is an opportunity. How will you respond? And most reassuring is knowing that you don't have to go it alone. There's a village of support out there. Graduates, some of those supporters are here today in this arena: family, friends, faculty and staff, classmates, co-workers, members from your church, and so on. When I graduated from St. Ambrose with a fine and respected liberal arts degree, it was my plans to enter either the field of social work or teaching. I considered it providential that I have now retired from Deere & Company with over 40 years of service. How did that happen? Well, that's another story for another day, but providential in it all is I was still able to use my education and my passion for community social service and for teaching all the years I worked for John Deere. An example in social work was the privilege to participate and serve in a number of community betterment and economic development programs. On the education side was the completing just last year of 40 years of teaching in the classroom through the Junior Achievement Free Enterprise Program. Graduates, you too will, and many of you may already have, experienced many lifetime impacting decisions to connect the dots that will net the fabric of your life as well as touch the lives of those around you along the way. Let me go back to the village just for a quick minute. My Aunt Elizabeth would call me up and say sarcastically, "James." Well, I knew I was in trouble immediately, and she'd proceed to ask me a question of which I couldn't answer, to which she'd say, "Well, you went to college." She really didn't expect me to have all the ready answers to her questions, but she expected me to be able to get her the right answer. Now, my Aunt Elizabeth, like my Aunt Harriet, Aunt Johnny May, and Grandma Anders, they were not family at all. But my brothers and I looked up to them and respected them, and they us, as family. They were a part of the village that surrounded us, surrounding us in faith, love, learning, and discipline. They, along with our parents, provided the role models and values to inspire us to realize more of our full potential. No one asked anyone to be a mentor, a coach, or a role model. During the old school days, that was what responsible adults just instinctively did. As my dad would say, as one of the many wisdoms that he tried to depart to his four hard-headed, quote-unquote, boys, I hear what you say, but I see what you do. When you least think it, someone is watching your every move. Probably Mom. She had eyes in the back of her head. As you are busy connecting the dots of life, remember, life is a matter of give and take. The best things to give are to your friends, loyalty. To your enemy, forgiveness. To your boss, service. To a child, an excellent example. To your parents, alive or deceased, gratitude and devotion. To your wedded mate, love and faithfulness. To all women and men, charity, sisterhood and brotherhood. And to God, your life, as He gave His for you. If you willingly and generously give these things in life, your storehouse will be abundantly overflowing. In closing, don't know if you heard the rumor, too, of bees becoming endangered? Well, we know that it is just a rumor, because we're about to graduate another class of bees to help improve the community betterment around this whole world. To the esteemed class of 2016, the best of wishes and God's blessings upon you for your continuing lifelong, once upon a time, for success and happiness. Go, bees!